to Pillars of Progress, a look at the work our government is doing as it implements the development plans for the nation. I'm Anne-Marie Ganes. And in our first story, the country has a new Minister of Planning, Economic Restructuring and Gender Affairs. Dr. Boyendradat Tiwari took the oath of office at Knowlesley on Wednesday. John Victor spoke with the new minister and has this report.
I, Boyendradat Tiwari, do swear by the Bhagavad Gita that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago, and will uphold the Constitution and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge my duties as a minister and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection, or ill will.
With those words, a new minister joined the cabinet. Less than 24 hours after former Minister Mary King was relieved of her duties by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. After taking the oath of office, the Prime Minister warmly welcomed Dr. Tiwari to the government benches. Dr. Tiwari spoke about some of his priorities for the ministry.
Well, I think the first priority for me would be to look to see the extent to which things at the Ministry of Planning, Economic Restructuring and Gender Affairs are aligned to the commitments of the manifesto. I think that is very important because a sustainable development framework was established and there were 7 pillars and a list of agenda priorities. And these things, of course, cross ministerial boundaries, some of them. And therefore, you need the alignment, not just within the ministry, but the connectivity in a cooperative fashion with other ministries. The second thing would be to get to know the people in the ministry better and to try to establish a rapport with them in which they can be part of whatever we strive to achieve on our agenda, and to make them really part of a team working together for a common purpose. And the third thing would be to try to make the best contribution that I can in the cabinet in a collaborative and cooperative and supportive way, serving the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago. I would say those are the things that I would think about now as priorities.
As for the gender affairs component of the ministry, Minister Tiwari says an assessment will have to be done to ascertain where the ministry is in that regard.
I'll have to first of all see what has been on the agenda in that area, and secondly, how much progress has been made, and then thirdly, try to talk to the people who are involved in that department in the ministry to try to sort of chart a strategic way forward.
In terms of economic restructuring, Dr. Tiwari acknowledged the country is operating in changed world economic circumstances.
It's a different world, and it's a different country too. Remember, under the Ministry of Planning and Economic Restructuring and Gender Affairs are 2 boards, the Economic Development Board and the Innovation and Competitiveness Council. And as you know, prior to taking up this office, I used to be chairman of the Competitiveness and Innovation Council. And so I have a little sense of the kinds of approaches that particular board was taking. We did have, under the last minister, a meeting of both boards. And I've had personal discussions with Mr. Ken Gordon, who is the chairman of the Economic Development Board. So basically there will be an attempt to sort of craft a strategy and agenda for development, having to do with competitiveness on the one hand and investment strategy on the other, not in terms of amounts of investment only, but in terms of the kinds, the quality, where it is on the value chain kind of investments.
Dr. Tewari will be sworn in as a senator when the upper house meets next Tuesday, but before that will attend his first cabinet meeting on Thursday.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is committing her government to providing basic infrastructure for every citizen in Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister was speaking yesterday as she commissioned development roadworks in the Couva North constituency. Sunil Ramjit Singh files this report.
The Prime Minister assured that her government will not wait for an election year to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Infrastructure development, she says, is a priority.
After many years of neglect and abandonment, the partnership says enough is enough, and without hesitation, we have embarked on a drive to ensure that the people of Trinidad and Tobago get what they deserve, nothing but the best. Motivated by our desire to do better, the Ministry of Works has chosen to upgrade, as I said, not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 roads in your constituency as a statement of our own understanding of the disrepair you experienced during all those years when we were in opposition politics. And so to the residents of Joyce Road, Rup Singh Road, Joyce Road Extension North and South, and Sinwasi Street, you will be the first to benefit from this action on the part of your government. And it is not because of a payback for your vote, but because, as every other citizen, you deserve to have infrastructural upgrade in your community. The partnership is not about cheap politics. The People's Partnership is not about partisan politics either, because whether you live here in Couva North, Morval Aventie, San Fernando West, or Diego Martin East, the partnership will work for you and for every citizen in our land. And so as we are here today, we were in Plock Road in San Francisco recently. I think on Wednesday I will be in my own constituency. Thank you very much, Minister of Works. On Friday we will be in Maraval, expanding the access roads and widening the Saddle Road. And so the ministry is not selecting communities by chance, but we are doing so after careful thought, study, deliberation, and analysis to choose communities most affected and clogged by traffic congestion to make the commuting experience a more pleasurable one. We are committed to you, and it is evident in our labors the fact that this government doesn't have to wait for elections to con you into believing that patching a road here and there that your government is working. When as a cabinet we decided to make the month of May a month of delivery in commemoration of the mandate you gave us, in commemoration of the trust and hope that you put into us at the polls last year, it was because we were cognizant of the fact that when you voted for us, you did so because you expected better days. You expected better days and better things. And so today, I have come to tell you, we will not shirk from our responsibility. We will not shirk from our promise to deliver. For us, tomorrow will be too late, and so we are here to deliver now. Water lines are to be laid later this month, which means that we are driving together to achieve the goal of providing water for all in Trinidad and Tobago, a task that was clearly too great for a government that had wasted our money on skyscrapers and concrete jungles, international conferences, but not provided any benefits for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, as I say, the legacy of your government and mine will not be these huge skyscrapers and the concrete jungles. They will be in the arena of hospitals and in the arena of schools. Those will be the legacies. I've told you we will build 5 hospitals, upgrade or build. And I want to get that done in this first term of office that you have given to us. I have pledged that every child between 3 and 5 should find a place in a preschool, because education begins up to the age of 7. That is when your mind is set and your heart is molded. And so those first few years are very vital. Many of our children cannot afford to get a proper early childhood education, preschool as we call them. And so that is another aim that we have in this term of office you have entrusted us with. This month, I will be commissioning over 11 early childhood care centers, already completed so far, to ensure that from an early age no child is left behind. Not only because we are a government which cares, but because the partnership government is committed to building a just, equitable, and knowledgeable society. This month, many roads will be opened, sods will be turned, bridges commissioned, and other infrastructure put in place to make our roads safer and more secure. The PTSD has already opened a new depot in Pinal, a statement which says it doesn't matter where you live in this land, the partnership will work for you. Oh yes, we are not an urban-based government, we are a government working for all. This is what our country desperately needed. And this is what you voted for on May 24th last year. This is what the partnership promised. And today, less than 1 year after we went into office, we can stand proud in the knowledge that we are a government which cares, and we are a government that is delivering.
Minister of Works and Transport Jack Warner provided the gathering with a total breakdown of development works across the country and the relevant contractors.
Without, of course, any prompting, any request on my part, I have brought today for the Prime Minister to see when she travels. I have brought today a list of every contractor who has been given a job, how much has been paid, how thick the mix has been on the roads he has paved, how many meters of box drain. Everyone has been here. This list you have here is a list of some $800 million in work. And the Prime Minister never asked me for this. She never asked me for an account. But I believe that there must be accountability at all levels. And Prime Minister, I did this for you today. $800 million, Prime Minister. Every contractor. And this, Prime Minister, this job, or these jobs, have been given to 149 contractors. 149 contractors. And this has nothing to do with the 106 contractors who have been employed on the highways, on the roads. This has nothing to do with the 126 contractors who have been given jobs in drainage division. This has to do purely with those contractors who have been given jobs in under the pure unit based on the allocation the Prime Minister made to the Ministry of Works and Transport. Of the 149 contractors, 66 are from South, 26 from Central, 28 from North, and 29 from East. No discrimination of any kind. And Prime Minister, I have the list here for you as well to work with. You will see the spread. You will see, of course, who got what. You'll understand why some people got and others got more or less. Because there are some contractors who can do a kind of work based on its how you call it again, based on the level of expertise needed, and others can't. But the fact is, we have taken as many as we can, and we have done all of this at a time when we have no money. We have done all of this at a time when the Prime Minister has to battle trade unions left, right, and center. But she understands that development has a ripple effect, because if we employ our contractors, if we give them jobs, then the economy is stimulated and all of us benefit. Prime Minister, to you, I therefore say, on behalf of the Ministry of Works and Transport, on behalf of PURE, I say to you, our eternal gratitude.
For the Member of Parliament for Couva North, Ramona Romney, this was an occasion to account for her stewardship.
In assuming office, when I did an audit of the constituency, we realized that there were a lot of communities without water, basic supply of water. And what we have done, I have gotten approved, and we have started most of the water projects in these areas already. Ramnarine Street, Bang Village, Bhutan Street, Bang Village, Temple Street, Bang Village, Leonard Street, Sanasi Street, Bang Village, Jeanette Avenue, Chiney Road, Waterloo, Bay Road, Orange Valley, Rajbali Street, Bang Village, McLeod Trace, Freeport. So, Madam Prime Minister, these communities will be well serviced with a daily supply of water in the upcoming year. With respect to our social development initiatives, we have more or less applied for 100 TT card applications. 50 persons have received already their TT cards, and the other 50 are pending, but as you know, due process has to be followed. With respect to HDC housing applications, we have made 40 such applications, and to date, Madam Prime Minister, 4 persons have received housing, and for that I want to thank the Minister of Housing, who has been very helpful to the constituents of Couva North. The Self-Help Commission beneficiaries, 60 persons, have benefited from self-help to date in the constituency of Couva North. Please, a warm round of applause for that. 53 persons, through my office, has been receiving or started to receive their pensions, and we are very much in tune and very much caring of our elder folks in Couva North and by extension the wider public. With respect to public assistance, 61 persons have been approved for public assistance through my office. And of course, Madam Prime Minister, you would know special assistance has been granted to flood victims, disabled persons within the constituencies. We have given out beds, mattresses, stoves and other appliances which have been approved by the various ministries for these unfortunate residents. We have also, and I think this was a landmark activity that happened here, we have also opened up the Waterloo Community Center, as you know, which was opened up last, I think it was in September of this year, by the Honorable Minister of Community Development, the Honorable Nizam Baksh. And for the past 6 years, Madam Prime Minister, that community center sat there without being utilized, completed, but not being utilized. And we were able to get that community center open for the residents of Waterloo to use and make good use of.
An appeal from the Minister of Health to ensure that reports of cases of dengue are made to the Insect Vector Control Division. This as Minister Therese Baptiste Cornelis commissioned new premises for the division in Tunapuna. She commended the Insect Vector Control Division for the work it has been doing for the year to date, noting the hundreds of thousands of homes already sprayed.
We actually operate in Caroni, Victoria East, Nariva Miaro, Victoria West, St. Patrick, St. George East, St. George Central, St. George West, St. Andrew, St. David. Now this is St. George East, and as he said, they did 40,055 houses. But the thing is, the country total we did between January to March is actually 269,637 houses that were actually treated with pericocal work. The houses sprayed with diamond fogging is 49,800, and of that, 5,018 was done in this St. George East. Houses sprayed with ULV in this St. George East, 12,960, and in the entire country between January and March, over 191,000 houses were sprayed with ULV. Houses that have been sprayed residually between January again to March, and let's do January to March to show you all the continuous effort we're making, was in St. George East, 1,190, overall in Trinidad and Tobago, 20,785. We will be giving copies of these to the media. And the number, people are asking about notices. Yes, we have seen some areas where we have problems, and we have submitted notices to them. Luckily, St. George East hasn't had that major problem, but we are seeing a problem in St. George West, with 45 notices having been served, and 8 in St. Andrew, St. David, which we're going to be looking to find out why the pattern is so high in St. George West. We are being given lectures to people about insect prevention, and we have done 44 in St. George East, and overall in this nation, between January to March, we have done 677. The reported dengue cases, I know this is a part the press loves. How many dengue cases do we have? Now remember, I'm going to give you reported dengue cases. Okay, it doesn't mean confirmed, but I'm giving you the reported. The reported ones that we have had, and this is where it gets even more amazing. We have had 241 cases reported in this area. And that's why we are focusing a lot on St. George East, because St. George East was showing a high prevalence. We don't know if it's to do, because in St. George East we have all these areas with agriculture, land and stuff. But overall in the country, we have had 1,000 cases reported. But do you know, besides the reported cases, we have had more investigated, because we don't just look at reports, we hear rumors and we go out. So the number of cases we have investigated is 1,049. We have investigated more than were reported, because sometimes I may hear that somebody was sick. And what I have made a call out, and I'm asking again, the private hospitals and the private doctors, when you get a case reported to you of suspected dengue, you need to contact IBCD. That's the only way we're going to know. What is happening is that we're only finding out from the public hospitals. And we need to find out from you as well, because we need to go in there. When I was in Blue Range, 3 people told me they had had dengue. And I said, where did you go? And they went to private clinics. I said, do you know if anybody came to spray? No, nobody came to spray. And I know from the IBCD, once you all get a report, you'll go out, right?
And still with the health sector, good news for the treatment of cancer. Health Minister Therese Baptiste Cornelis says her ministry is working to expedite construction of the National Oncology Centre. The minister says work on the centre will resume shortly.
Ministry of Works, the architects from the previous are coming together. We're looking at putting this project forward and hopefully within 18 months having that National Oncology Centre. Trinidad and Tobago has waited so long, but it's not. I think I want to make sure it is one thing. I leave here, it's a proper functioning centre, and this is a holistic centre. And I don't like to use the word holistic normally, but this is a holistic centre in the sense that it's going totally at everything that concerns cancer. It's not just a place for this radiation treatment, it's a whole diagnostic, radiation treatment, and all that, everything it goes with it, because it also counselling. Because many times people, when they find out they have cancer, they think, oh my God, my life has come to an end. And many times recently we have heard of people who have died from one cancer or the other. But the earlier we catch this, the better chance we have of saving our citizens.
More community centres before the end of the year. That's the assurance given by the government at the opening of the La Gloria Community Centre in New Grant. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar and Community Development Minister Nizam Bashk did the honours. The Prime Minister recommitted herself to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The only way that we can build this land of ours, this nation of ours, and to build our people is if we stay together. I'd ask you to take our hands. Let us put God in front and walk behind as we build our country. And 1 year later, I come back to recommit to you and to ask you not to lose the faith, because the delivery is coming, has been coming, and will continue to come.
Like other community-related projects, the opening of the La Gloria Community Centre in New Grant is an important one for the government. For the year, 6 community centres have been opened, and as was revealed by the Minister of Community Development, Nizam Bashk, 20 more are expected to be opened before the end of the year. The La Gloria Community Centre has been one which, according to Minister Bashk, has been long in coming.
The completion of this community centre was important, because the people of La Gloria are important. After many years of waiting and after many unkept promises, the people of La Gloria still remain without a community center. So upon taking office, I made the completion of partially completed community centers one of our top priorities. This is why today I am proud that within less than 1 year since taking office, we have the pleasure to deliver to you, the beautiful people of La Gloria, this community center.
He says the $6.8 million it cost to build the centre is money well spent. The centre will facilitate adult literacy programs and courses, and through it the residents will have access to the Community Education Skills Training Program.
Few communities have been as persistent as yours. Few have been as patient as you, demonstrating that stick-to-itiveness and a strong community spirit will always ultimately prevail.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar pointed to the importance of community development.
If we are to ensure continued success as a nation, it is one of the areas we must focus on, and without which our society and the foundations of our society will crumble. And why is that? Because communities consist of individuals, families, groups, organizations, and institutions, all of which contribute to and affect the development of the whole. And one of the key ways to ensure community development is the establishment of working community centers, which in most countries, such as developing ones like ours, is an essential institution for those suffering from social exclusion. Social exclusion can impact on the unemployed. It can impact on the homeless, the disabled, or the elderly. It can include single parents, low-income families, or members of other challenged groups.
The Prime Minister spoke of the facilities which the community centre can provide, such as food for the homeless, safe, productive evening activities for youth at risk, and unique social activities for seniors at no risk to them. For the Prime Minister, the most important aspect of community centres is that it is free to all citizens. The construction of new libraries for Mayaro and Rio Claro will begin before this fiscal year ends. That's the promise of the Member of Parliament for Mayaro and Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, Winston Peters. He was speaking at a function to commission a new library for the Guayaguayari Roman Catholic Primary School. It's a brand new library with all modern facilities for the Guayaguayari Roman Catholic Primary School, commissioned and built by the National Energy Corporation. For Minister Winston Peters, under whose jurisdiction Nallis falls, this is a welcome beginning.
I am very pleased to inform you that before the end of fiscal year 2010-2011, the construction of modern libraries in Rio Claro and Mayaro will commence. In Mayaro, there will be a 2-story facility on a new site. And in Rio Claro, there would be the same. The present library structure in Mayaro will be preserved and would be reverted to its original use as the village hall as we know it. I will also work towards ensuring that each school in the district has an updated library facility and that there is a synergy and systems network with the main Mayaro library facility when it becomes operational. And I can assure you here today that is not a vacuous promise. It is going to be started and it is going to be finished. I would see to it. In this regard, I'll be speaking with officials of Nallis to immediately do a review and assessment of each school in the district to determine logistical and material support for their respective libraries. With regard to the Guayaguayari RC Primary School Library, I will also ensure that your book stock and other requirements are taken care of.
The president of the National Energy Corporation, Andrew Jupiter, says this delivery of a library forms part of his company's corporate responsibility. He says corporations must give back to the community.
And today, NEC has embarked on a plan that is allowing us to get to know our project communities and the unique challenges faced by residents. And through consultation, which you have heard from the president, from the principal, through collaboration with the various stakeholders involved, we are happy to report that we have been making a difference. And I give you the assurance that we will continue to do so. I am certain that I speak for the employees of NEC when I say that we are committed to going beyond what can reasonably be expected in terms of CSR. Building communities must not just be activity that we do, it must become part of who we are. We are committed to the empowerment and development of people. Ladies and gentlemen, the refurbishment of this school library can be taken as an example of a successful approach to sustainable community development.
And that's where we leave it for this edition of Pillars of Progress. Thanks for joining us, and join us again tomorrow as we continue to look at our government at work.